Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Section 214 of BC Lions podcast. I'm your host, Ascent, and I'm just here with JS over here. Unfortunately, Hammer couldn't make it to our recording because he been busy with Thanksgiving dinner and everything, and
You didn't
um,
miss much.
didn't really miss much. No, I mean, yeah, we suffered. Eh, we suffered enough through the game to spare that. So there's that. But yeah, we'll get into. I mean, we're expecting this to be a pretty short episode because there's really not much to say about this. I mean, for one thing, I had a dinner break in the middle of in between the first and second quarters. Uh, the score did change a little bit when I came back from dinner, but then everything after my dinner break was just continuing to the game was just continuing to fall apart. But yeah, I'll get into why this will be a short episode, but I do have something pretty incredible to announce.
You've been
And
teasing us all week and has not told us. So I'm
yeah,
finding this out live like the rest of you.
yeah, and I'm sure. I mean, if Hamlet's going to be watching this episode too, he'll find it out through here. But yeah, I'll say this. Well, actually, before I say it, I mean, you did have a guess as to what it was going to be, so maybe just tell me what your guess is.
I think it's you're going to the Grey Cup. That was my guess.
Yes, you were correct.
There we go.
Yes, I'm
That's
going
exciting.
to the Grey Cup. Yeah. Um. Yeah. I mean, the
For
last
the
time I
record,
went
that
to
was
the
not staged, everyone. I
no, it
genuinely was
was
guessing.
no, I was no, that was probably the best guess, and considering the nature of our podcast, I mean, it was kind of you had a pretty high chance that you're going to be correct. So yeah, I'm going to my first Grey Cup in 11 years.
There you go.
Yeah, last one I went to was the Saskatchewan Grey Cup, and you know, considering how Saskatchewan looked in this game, I mean, if they managed to do it again to BC and then beat Winnipeg, I mean, um, I just might be a good luck charm if they win another Grey Cup, right? Because that was but that's for far down the line. So yeah, that's yeah, I'm gonna be excited. I mean, I'll be a lot more excited if BC makes it, but I'm excited, baseline excited for the game. Nevertheless, I mean, with or without BC, right? uh,
Most likely at this point without barring something miraculous.
yeah, it's yeah. This has been. I mean, we're coming off the win against Calgary. I mean, it was kind of an expected win for us. I mean, I wasn't too hyped up saying that, oh yeah, we're gonna destroy the rest of the league now, and I wasn't saying that. And then this game, and they, uh, uh yeah, I guess for the gut check, I mean, yeah, this game was just an absolute killer for the team momentum, right? For what little momentum they had after beating a four-win team, right, to make it, right? And I mean, I was hoping with Winnipeg's loss yesterday, I mean, they were this was primed to be, an important game for both teams, right? Because had BC won this game and the Montreal game next week, I think they
They would have
well,
hosted the West Semi.
would have hosted at least the West semis, right? And had a long shot of hosting the Western Conference final. But now that's completely dead, right? We're our playoff road is going to go on the road for the most part.
Yeah, they
Uh,
said it at the end of the broadcast today. If the Lions are going to want to have a home game, it's going to be the Grey Cup or a home
yeah,
playoff
that's going to
game.
be yeah, that's pretty much the ultimate reward for going through a lot of road adversity. But man, it is not looking good, right? I mean, this team
No,
is just in stream is just very inconsistent, and uh,
just a
yeah,
complete words that I can't say from start to
yeah, there's
finish.
no words. Yeah, that was already the title of a previous episode. That was the shutout against Winnipeg. I mean, I'm not gonna name this no words too, but
Oh, I have words, but it's a family show.
family show, yeah, the family show. Yeah, we're gonna keep our swears to PG-13 at the least.
There you go.
Ah, hell, it's just,
Ah,
um,
darn.
dang it. Dang it, they got blown out, right? And yeah, they did get blown out, right? 39-8, right? It was
Just
uh
really nothing going for them, right at the start of the game, pick six, that kind of set the tone right there. And I
yeah,
think this is probably a good time for me to call for this, since before we get into a little more detail, I am
mhm.
officially saying we need to start Brennan Adams next week. Basically, Rourke has not been anything remotely like what he was in 2022 since he came back. You can see a pretty clear correlation between him coming back and the team's meltdown. So is it all his fault? No, of course not. But something needs to change. There needs to be a big, shock to the system to jolt everybody and get them going. And given that next week is essentially an exhibition game now, you must start Vernon Adams next week, in my
Yeah, to
opinion.
see what he's got, right? I mean, I agreed with you even before the recording too. Yeah, that should. I mean, I do think Walker still might be our best shot of winning, but again, I just
He doesn't look like it
which
right now.
doesn't look like it right now. But I mean, I really don't know where you go from here. It's just, I mean, we'll see if Adams does get the start of Montreal, but if not, then I think it's just
If he doesn't,
and
I don't understand it, given that the game doesn't mean anything. Like I have to wonder if, I was talking to some others about this. I have to wonder if, there's calls being made from the ownership to keep playing Rourke. Like they didn't even put Vern Adams in at all in this game, even when it was long out of
knows.
reach. You have to wonder if there are calls being made from upstairs, because we're paying him so much money, you have to play him. You have to wonder about that because I don't think Coach Campbell is a dumb guy. He's a smart guy. So I don't understand why he wouldn't even give Vernon Adams a few reps.
Well, I mean, he's not a dumb guy, but he did have a stupid moment in this game. Right, it was
Oh, yes, he
uh
did.
he has his moment of like we're just going against the grain and failing immediately. But yeah, it's just um I just I mean, I'll tell you this before we get into the stats. I mean, around the time of the third, like when the third quarter started, and then they tried the onside kick and it failed. I immediately said, "And I'm gonna watch the Sens," and that was also a bad idea because they lost to in blowout fashion, really. So,
Yeah, we just knew that was kind of that
just
was it.
just a miserable day today, right? I'm there. So yeah, let's just rip the band-aid off and get into the stats for this ugly, ugly game. So I switched up the stats read, so you can start with the BC stats. Man,
Yeah, not much to go through. I'll just breeze through it, just like the Lions breezed through this game. So
yeah,
Rourke went 15 for 23 with 200 yards, so not very impressive. Two interceptions. Longest though was 38 yards. That was like one good play he made, but that
mhm.
was to McInnes, but there was nothing good to say about him. Stanback 8 carries for 35 yards. That's uncharacteristically low. And he had three catches for 30 yards. That's also not very good. Uh,
No, not like Andrew Harris. He was
no. And then
no,
David Mackey, 4 carries for 8 yards. Goodness me. He did have a touchdown, the only
he had
touchdown
the
of the game for
only
the Lions.
touchdown in the game, right? The fullback,
Yay, yippee. Woohoo!
the fullback.
Then McInnes, 6 catches for 119 yards. He was, strong today. Hollins, 2 catches for 17 yards. Eberhardt, 4 for 44. Berryhill, 4 for 37. Poisson, 2 for 17. That's a pretty fishy low total. And then and then with the defense, we had one sack from Vladeck and
Nothing else. Just
nothing
no.
else notable
Just
really.
they were just dissected by Harris the entire game. Right?
Pretty much, yeah.
It was terrifying.
Sean
uh,
White didn't have any field goal attempts, just one extra point, 1 for 1. And Flintoff, 5 punts for 44.6 yards a punt. And then Williams, went back to his old form. He had a total of 120-yard returns on 8 returns. So that's like,
Yeah,
was
eight
that
returns, and
15
that's
and
four.
15-ish average? So like 40, yeah, I don't have anything to say.
Yeah, so yeah, it's four punt returns and four kickoffs, and he didn't really do a whole lot on the special team, which is I'm kind of come to expect now. I mean, he's just I don't think he's going to be on the team for next year, which is might be a plus, but I mean, he's just heavily disappointed me. I mean, he's had numerous opportunities to break one open for a touchdown and just never has, and I just don't think he ever will this year. Uh,
Doubt it.
even um, yeah, so yeah, it was just ugly stats all around. I mean, really, like the only bright spot was that McInnes had a 100-yard receiving game at least. I mean, it kind of broke the slump there for 100-yard receiving games at least. But again, I kind of take that with a grain of salt because it must have been garbage time yardage at least. uh,
Just a sad day
somewhat.
all around.
Yeah. So yeah, the offense didn't had a lot of mistakes and just didn't really do anything, and just what we come to expect again. When you're being a road team against a Western Conference opponent lately, right? Just
Just not good.
not good. And yeah, Saskatchewan. I mean, I mean, I really hope that I really hope that the team remembers this game because boy, Saskatchewan had a field day with us today. Yeah, Trevor Hill is my arch nemesis now. Apparently, he went 25 for 30 for 271 yards, two touchdowns, and no interceptions. Nine average per throw, and his longest throw was 37 yards. So yeah, he was very efficient. I mean, much like Boley by Mitchell was in the comeback game, and then
Oh yeah.
uh,
Just tearing
yeah,
us apart.
that's just the key to beating the Lions. Really, I mean, just be efficient with your passes, and you can win easily. Just go for a porous defense. Apparently, it's um yeah, and then for running backs, Willett, who came back from injury, which is nice to see. He's back on the field, but yeah, he did have an impact in this game. He had 16 carries for 84 yards, but no
He was
touchdowns.
great today.
Yeah, yeah, I like his blonde hair too. It's wish I had that lux. I wish I had that kind of hair, right? But yeah, he went 16 carries for 84 yards, no touchdown, and 5.3 on average, and 18-yard one was the longest. So yeah, he complemented the offense enough, and the real damage is, of course, the receiving stats. And then here it's most of the receiving core, the usual suspects in Saskatchewan. I mean, I think yeah, they basically remembered what we did to them in our last game against them, right? When we torched them on defense, right? When Holland had 200 plus yards receiving, right? And that was that's clearly still fresh in the mind of them because yeah, Stones and MLS had the most productive games. So Stones had 6 catches on 9 targets for 60 yards, one touchdown. And MLS had 6 catches on 7 targets for 94 yards, and he was averaging 15.7. So yeah, it was just very very efficient passing games for them. I mean, it wasn't 200 plus yards like we did to them, but it was still. I mean, the score really suggests the score doesn't really tell you. Well, the stats here doesn't really tell you just how much Harris was just dissecting us. And then yeah, Schaefer Baker had 4 catches on 6 targets for and a touchdown for 21 yards. So and then the rookie making his debut, Duncan Busby, had 2 catches for 31 yards, 15.5 average, and then Johnson had 5 catches for 58 yards. So yeah, it's just yeah, yeah, the offense was dicing us, and the defense was especially lethal against the offense. I mean, they had I was surprised when I saw that they had just the one sack. I thought they would have had more, especially in the garbage time, which I didn't watch. Um, but yeah,
I
they
was
had
there,
the
but I
one.
wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah, they had the one sack on Sanders, and then two interceptions from Allen and Avery, and then the one interception. Boy. Yeah, one fumble and one turnover on down, and that was the stupid thing that I thought Rick Campbell was doing. Where should
They
have
went
taken the
for it on
points.
that place. They were only down in the second quarter. They were only down by 8 at that point, and he goes for it. I was not impressed. Let's just leave it at
Goes
that.
for it. Yeah, I mean that was really the start of what was to come in the second quarter too. Right? But yeah, and then special teams. I mean, yeah, Sean White didn't have much or anything to do with field goal kicking, but Lavo did. He had 6 field goals and 3 extra points. So let me guess, that's 18, and then he had 21 points. So he had over half the points of the game, right? But you need to be the offense needs to be taking advantage of Saskatchewan kicking field goals, and they just never did. Uh, and then yeah, and then I thought Saskatchewan would have punted a lot less than 4, but yeah, of course Zach only had the 4 punts and averaging 48.5 yards. So I thought it would have been at least one or two just those punts, but uh, Alfred, I mean, he's a superstar kickoff returner, but he didn't do much in this game either. He only had 5 return catches on special teams, 4 punt returns, and 1 kickoff return for a total of 83 yards, and averaging 23 yards for the. Oh no, he had the 23 yards on the kickoff because it was just the one, and then it was averaging 15 on the punt return. So yeah,
He
they
wasn't returning a
both.
lot of punts because the Lions were turning the ball over instead of punting it.
Yeah, they were turning the ball over constantly. That's why. That's why I thought, oh, that's a lot more punts than I thought there would be. uh, yeah, and then penalties and time of possession. So penalties, as Saskatchewan only had 2 penalties for 10 yards, and BC had 4 for 53. So low on the penalty count, which is good, I guess, but uh, not wildly out of whack. But I'm glad it didn't, near the end of the game, it must not have it probably wasn't too salty right at the end, right? It was just let's just go home and lick our wounds and
And we'll
uh
prep for the next one, basically.
yeah, and time of possession, yeah, Saskatchewan had 33 minutes and 55 seconds, and BC had 26 minutes and 5 seconds. So yeah, it's just it was really the turnovers that were really causing Saskatchewan to have. I mean,
That was the big issue.
that was the big issue, really, and yeah, it was yeah, and then I'll yeah, I'll get into the game now. So it's just so the game recap. It's which is again going to be pretty, as brief as I can make it to be because again, I like
The second, third, and fourth quarter, there's really nothing to say much. And then, yeah,
no, the first quarter and second quarter was where all the crazy stuff happened, and then the third
yeah,
quarter,
exactly.
yeah, just after the first play of the game, I stopped taking notes because I was like, they're losing this. Like what little hope I
Basically,
had,
yeah.
what little minuscule hope I had have gone, right? But anyways, I'll just start out with the first quarter, and I put Saskatchewan hosts a playoff game if they win, and then BC hosts a playoff game if they win both this one and Montreal. But yeah, now we know that yeah, it's going to be between Saskatchewan and Winnipeg to see who hosts the Western Conference Final. Now, I mean, so basically Saskatchewan is just rooting for Winnipeg to lose out from here on out, right, and them to win. So
Then they would host the West Final, which would be quite amazing for them at
yeah,
least.
and that would mean that BC would be playing Winnipeg on the road immediately instead of in a normal stomping ground, right? Uh,
Definitely.
oh my God. Okay, so yeah, yeah, we know the result, but yeah, I put that there just to set up the stakes for this game. But I don't think BC heard me typing that because pretty much on the opening drive, Williams takes the kick off to the 39, and then Stanback had a run and his helmet flies off. His helmet flies off on the first play. And then on the second play of the game, after it was picked off in a crazy, extremely lucky way where Stanback dropped the pass. It bounced off his heel, off of his butt cheek, and it was chugging around multiple different Saskatchewan defenders. And Allen is the one who catches it, and he takes it to the house with a pick six just immediately. And I just threw my hands up in the air. I'm going, why?
That was just
Why are you
terrible luck.
torturing me?
Terrible luck. That was not Rourke's fault that that happened, but it was just terrible luck. That's all I have to say, and
Oh
kind of
yeah,
summed up the night.
that was just pretty much the tone setter of how the rest of the game was going to go. And then yeah, I was fuming. Both of us were fuming. I mean, Hammer wasn't even uh talking with us until at least halfway through the second quarter, I believe. And then but yeah, so yeah, William, yeah, after that crazy pick six, Williams returned the second kick after the 47. Abe Hart converts on 10 for his first catch of the game, but then I thought Rook was intercepted here. I mean, we both of us thought he was intercepted, but upon command center review, the ball, popped onto the ground. You can't use the ground to assist in an interception, so that was wiped off. But BC didn't do anything with it after that. Right, it was just in Barry Hill was stopped short 5 yards and a check down pass to force him to punt anyways, and it was a ruse. So, so it was no sarcastic cheer from me at least. I didn't say that in the moment, but I was like going, okay,
You
fine,
get a
one
point.
point.
Yay.
Whoosh. Um, yeah, and then yeah, after that rouge, it was just from the 40-yard line. It was just Saskatchewan was getting a couple first downs on 10 plus yard throws, and then Varga defends the pass to force Lavo to score a long field goal to extend Saskatchewan's lead to 10-1. And then it was here where I actually I had to have my Thanksgiving turkey dinner early. I was busy eating, so I stopped taking notes, and I actually didn't watch the middle, the little part of the game because I turned it off, and I was just focused on eating.
You
Right, I
ate
didn't
the
want to
turkey. You ate the turkey instead of watched the turkey on the field.
watch turkey. Yeah, I was. I mean, and when I came back, I mean, the score was closer, right? I mean, as soon as I came back, the BC just scored a touchdown, right? So I thought, I thought in that moment, I'm going, okay, should I turn the TV back off because they just scored? Uh,
But
yeah,
no,
didn't really matter because again, I kept watching, and this is where the bad stuff really started. So after the dinner break, it was 13-8 with 10 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the quarter. So Saskatchewan was getting the ball back after BC scored a touchdown on. I mean, I think it was a decent drive, right? It was like 10 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards, and score right on the short yardage. But that's what I saw of the highlights. But uh, yeah, Saskatchewan gets the ball back, and then they start converting a bunch of times, right? Frustratingly. But the bench was looking like sieves, which was frustrating me to no end. But
how they looked the whole game, just sliced and diced and barbecued.
slice and slice and dice, and yeah, just actually, Willette. Well, when Saskatchewan was in the red zone, Willette actually tried to pass, but that was nearly intercepted by Peters, and I would imagine if Peters had picked that ball off, right? I think might have been a little bit of a different game, right? But
He did
yeah,
not.
TJ Lee did defend the next play as well, so that stopped. It was a bend but don't break defense at that point. The Saskatchewan kicks an easy field goal to extend the lead to 16-8. So it was still a manageable game, by one possession.
But
But
then we melted down because I guess after that, the Lions had a decent drive going. When did they get down to about the Stanback had a couple of catches and McKinnis had a couple of catches, but they got down to in the red zone a 3rd and 2 in the 3 minute inside the
mhm,
3 minute warning, and then they went for it on 3rd and 2 instead of kicking a field goal, which would have made it 16-11
which
and
I
still
call it,
close
but they
game.
call it the Nick Sirianni effect, right? Where you
Literally,
go for
yeah.
needless so down conversion rather than just taking the points, right? Just
In that case, I
feel
would have
better.
totally taken the points, given how
Yeah.
hard those points were to come by for them. But they did not. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I was expecting them to not make it on Soden too, because the Soden two is really hard. It's quite hard to convert. I mean, even though it looks easy, it's a lot harder to convert on Soden two than it would be on inches or near the 1 yard line. Right, 2 yards is really asking for the running game, and the running game was struggling. Right, so I didn't know what Rick Campbell was thinking in that moment. I just. Oh man, it was just bad flashback to Nick Sirianni. Just uh so yeah, they turned the ball over and then I had Saskatchewan score the touchdown, all ready to be I had it typed out, but I was watching, as the drive started for Saskatchewan. I had it typed out ready to edit for clarity. And lo and behold, Saskatchewan gets the ball, down the field and then actually, no. Well, no, they didn't get the distance needed to kick a field goal. Like, they did punt after the turnover on downs. But on BC's ensuing drive, McKinnis fumbles and a first down catch at the Saskatchewan 49. He made a great catch and then just immediately fumbled it
he basically
to
held it for a split second long enough for it to be called a catch. And then boom, few seconds later was a touchdown for Saskatchewan.
touchdown. Well, yeah, because Tavai got called offside. Ambulance converts on a one-on-one route, and then the Riders get in the red zone, and then this time they score a key late quarter touchdown on a diving Stones catch to extend the Riders lead to 23-8. And I was I was in a pit of despair that time, and then it got even worse. It got even worse. Well, what throws an interception just on the first play of the drive that leads. Well, I thought they were going to take it to the house and like really make it an ugly score, but well, I mean, at that point, it was like thankfully it wasn't a pick six, but it was close enough for Saskatchewan to kick another field goal to make it 29-8 in the first half,
And then we knew it was over.
and then. I mean, I knew I mean I knew it was over after the pick six in the first quarter, but I mean
Fair enough, yeah.
this was just a series of unfortunate events, to quote Lemony Snicket. Uh,
Definitely.
just I was just I was just in full give up mode. I mean, I was I was flipping between the Sens game and the Lions game, but yeah, both teams were just had disappointed me tonight, and yeah, I mean, I did do my diligence with halftime recaps, but I mean, I was just I knew I probably wouldn't be reading through these
Wouldn't eating
anyways,
it.
but yeah, and then of course the third quarter, this is where BC tried to do a Sean Payton in the Super Bowl, uh, where they tried a surprise onside kick. But I mean, the funny thing was that in that Super Bowl, Sean Payton did that just to stop the shootout. Well, the shootout, the scoring back and forth between the Saints and the Colts. Like, but this one, it was just where Campbell just wanted to try something else, right? Just to light the spark, and it didn't work. And
It was a
I thought,
terribly executed kick. Didn't even wasn't even close to anybody touching it, just sailed out of bounds.
and it was a penalty on that play too. So, yeah, I said BC tries a surprise onside kick on the kickoff that failed miserably, as I decided to stop taking my notes, right, and penning the final result. So yeah, I just committed to watching the rest of the hockey game, which
There
was
was
yeah,
there was really nothing of note in the third or fourth quarter other than me
Yeah,
constantly saying, when are they going to
yeah,
bench Rourke? When are they going to bench Rourke? And eventually they did, but they didn't put Vernon Adams in, which was disappointing.
yeah. They put Bryce in again, which yeah, he seems to be the garbage time QB. Or
Yeah,
yeah,
it's just
so yeah, BC they cede home field advantage in the playoffs to the Riders. Yeah, so they lost like 39-8. So yeah, they only scored a field goal. Well, the Riders only scored a field goal just after I stopped watching and taking notes. So yeah, no, good on them for holding up. I just
but yeah,
left.
it just was not good. There was really nothing of
Yeah,
note, just a lot of rage I was feeling and
I was.
unhappiness.
Yeah, I
That's really all I
was.
had.
Yeah, my mood. It's. I mean, even if they beat the Panthers up in Montreal, it's going to be a Montreal team that's going to be resting their starters. Probably they're not going to be as amped for a game, but I
They won't be.
mean, yeah, win or lose. I mean, I think I'm gonna be in the same mood as I'm expecting the hoping for the best and expecting the worst, right?
Yeah.
Especially considering how our track record with road playoff games is not good in the past
No.
decade.
I have a feeling like if they don't start to make changes, they're gonna show up in Saskatchewan and on the 2nd of November and can have a similar result.
or Winnipeg, depending on
Yeah.
yeah,
Guess
the
we'll have to wait and
results
see
of
on that. But
next
like,
week. Yeah, there's still a little bit of intrigue left in the season, but it's pretty much going to be all gone by the time our bye week happens, right? And yeah, I
that's
mean
it.
we'll still be doing our episode for the Montreal game, for a final home game. I imagine that's got to be something like fan appreciation night, right? So,
Yeah.
uh,
I will not be around for that
boy, they put
episode.
us through the
But
ringer this year.
they
Uh,
sure did. I will not be there for that game, and I will probably not be super tuned into it. I will be working at the election next week,
yeah,
and
exactly.
I don't expect I'll be following it super closely.
Yeah, I think yeah, I'll be flipping back and forth just to check on the election proceedings and then the game. But
Well, the polls don't
yeah,
close until 8, and the game's over at about 7, so
yeah. So yeah, you won't be around for the next episode, but
no, I won't.
definitely for the bye week bonus,
Yes,
the last bonus
I'll be around
episode.
for that.
So yeah, it's just gonna be two. It's gonna be a set of two for this week, for this episode and next week, and then yeah, the bonus one will be all three, and then of course the playoff game too. So uh yeah, I mean, I did watch. There was another game on today, but it was a meaningless game. It was Edmonton beating Calgary, right? I
I
don't
watched a
remember.
little bit of it. It was not that exciting, I'll be honest.
Yeah, Toronto beat Winnipeg on the road. With yeah, Toronto beat Winnipeg, which was surprising. I thought Winnipeg, they had
Very
home.
impressive win for Toronto.
Yeah, I that's got to be a momentum booster for them. I mean, especially if they're gonna well, they still have enough games to try and take away Ottawa's hosting a playoff game themselves, right?
Especially
So
because they play Toronto and Ottawa play next week.
yeah, I'm gonna be rooting for Ottawa on that one. Big surprise, though.
That'll be a good one, the CTV game next week, which I will also not be watching because my election shift is 14 hours. So there you go. It'll be
Yeah,
15 hours.
I'll watch that game for you then.
There you go.
Uh, yeah,
But then we
uh,
still have our Thanksgiving Day game on Monday.
Monday.
I miss the days when they used to have a doubleheader on Thanksgiving. I think it's kind of annoying that they only have one game on now because it's 10 a.m. our time. So basically by lunchtime, football is done or CFL is done for the day.
Yeah, well, for our Thanksgiving, yeah, it's only just a one game, and then for the NFL, for American Thanksgiving, they have the three games, right?
Yeah.
I thought would have been better for that, but instead of it being spaced out. But yeah, they had to get like some or corporate sponsor for Thanksgiving, the weekend games, right? So I noticed
Yeah.
that. So
Well, there you go. That'll be a good game. Montreal doesn't have anything to play for, so I could see Ottawa winning it.
Ottawa, yeah, I could see Ottawa winning that one too, and Well, I mean, I hope they win because they lost to the Habs today, so
Ottawa
don't want
Senators,
to
yeah.
lose to Montreal doubly. I cannot stand Montreal. Uh, anyways, yeah, that'll be it for us today. So yeah, I'm very sad about the result, but I'm very happy to tell my friends and the viewers at large that I will be going to the Grey Cup with Hammer. I believe he's also going as well. So
And I will be there too.
yeah, that's yeah.
Cool.
I'm yeah. Again, I'm excited for that, and yeah. But yeah, we just have to get through these the dog days of the last of the regular season before we get into a playoff stuff, and maybe some playoff predictions in the bye week. I mean, you never know.
And
uh,
maybe if we get lucky, maybe the Lions will be there in the
yeah,
breakout. That'd be a bit of a miracle at this point, but
be a miracle. That'd be incredible miracle. Just
stranger things have
they've done
happened.
it before, right?
Yeah, they have. 2006, I think they were 8-10, and then they went on to win the Grey Cup. I could be wrong. If
Yeah,
yeah.
they upset. Also upset Montreal then.
Well,
Yeah,
you never
so
know.
yeah, that's it could be shaded out. I mean, I've been saying that for a few weeks now, but I mean, I'm trying to manifest some kind of positive kind of some kind of hope for this team because we're not really
If there's no
showing
hope,
us.
if there's no hope, there's less excitement, and less excitement means fewer listeners for us.
No, we're yeah, it's my job to try and keep the faith, but oh
I
man,
don't have
they
much right
really need
now.
to do a lot better, right? They need to do much better. They can do much better than this, right? Uh,
Yeah, they sure can. And hopefully
uh
they will. They do have time to get something figured out for the playoffs, but not a lot of time. So
yeah, they've got like
hopefully
a
they can make
tune-up
it work.
game. Yeah, the tune-up game to Montreal, and then yeah, just a bye week to really think about the approach. Watch a lot of film like I do with my friend. Uh, if I'm not watching football or hockey, I'm watching movies with a friend of mine. But yeah, that's so yeah, that's gonna be it for us today. I've got my Lions overturned hat with my little friend here, just chilling. That's kind of the mood I'm trying to be in right now. But uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's all we got.
yeah. So and yeah, blue depression shirt, and then of course I think I didn't explain why I'm wearing the Canada soccer hat. I've been just so torn down from sports over the past 2 weeks that it's been. If you know the story about Canada's men's and women's soccer over the past year, uh, yeah, they've been. I've heard nothing but disappointment from the fans for them. Like just
You might as well get them in on it too.
yeah. So if you see me wear this hat, I'm not having a good day. So yeah, anyways, yeah, so that'll be it for us today. So yeah, you can well, I guess it's been a while since you've told us social, so I'll let you do that.
Sure. We're on Instagram and Twitter at Section 214 Pod, on YouTube at Section 214 BC Lions Podcast, and our email is SECTIONTWOFOURTEEN @gmail.com.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, and I hope we do get at least another fan mail or two. That'd be pretty nice. But uh yeah,
Yeah, I guess we'll
so
call it there.
yeah, sad ending, but yeah, we're used to it by now. So yeah, we'll see you next I believe it's Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see you next Saturday for our last regular season episode. So
All right.
with Hammer.
Bye,
So
people. See you
bye-bye.
then.